Hello YouTube and people of the interwebs, welcome back to my more in-depth breakdowny analysis of Doctor Who Flux, Chapter 5, The Survivors of the Flux. Now, yeah, so much stuff happened in this episode, I don't really know where to start. I think, as with most weeks, I'm going to start by talking about the characters and then get into the more spoilery stuff later on. However, if you don't want any spoilers, just don't watch this video because spoilers are going to be contained throughout, so yeah. First up, we're going to talk about Jodie's Doctor in this episode. Now, she didn't get loads to do, but the stuff she did have to do was genuinely fantastic. Like, that scene where she's shouting at Tecteun, like, give me my memories back and blah, 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 blah. Who do you think you are? You didn't have the right to take me as a child. I don't know what lives I could have led. The moment where she was shouting that, probably her best performance ever as the Doctor. Like, genuinely outstanding. And the emotions felt in that moment were just, brilliant. And especially when Tecteun's theme from Series 12 kicked in and they were talking about Ancient Gallifrey, it was really like, yes, this is why I like The Timeless Children. Like, this episode did remind me why I think that ultimately The Timeless Child is a good thing for the show. Which, yeah, that is controversial. But ultimately, I think it's for the best. There's so many storytelling opportunities here. And I don't know. I don't want to say it's a shame that Chibnall's leaving because I feel like he's done his stories, they're good, and it's time for something new. But at the same time, I would like to have seen what Chibnall would have done to explore this idea further. So, we've talked about the Doctor, brilliant performance. Tecteun, or like the mysterious Aswok woman. I think she was credited as Aswok in one of the other episodes, but yeah, Tecteun, really nice to see her back. I was worried after Series 12 we weren't going to see this character again, and I do like how she's really well performed, whoever the actress is, brilliant job, and I love the stricter and more parental role she had with the Doctor. Like, it was as if her teenage child had just walked back in home after a late night and she's like, what are you doing, Doctor? Shut up, be quiet, I've got better things, more important things going on than you, Doctor, blah blah blah. And I really liked that because that's a dynamic you don't often see a character have with the Doctor. Like, although this is basically her first appearance, we do actually get a sense of the dynamic. Like, she did feel like a parent or parental figure to the Doctor. She felt like she knew her inside out, and she was just sort of like, shut up, I've got bigger things going on, which I thought was a really nice dynamic to see. Now, Tecteun had an Ood. The Ood are always cool. There's not really anything to say. I just like the Ood. What can I say? Now, Yaz, Dan, and Eustachius Jericho. Them three were really good. Those three, not them three. Those three were really, really good in this episode, to be fair. Once again, like Jodie, I'd say this is Mandip Gill's best performance as Yaz. Probably because, like, it's not like she's a bad actor, but she's never really been given loads to sort of sink her teeth into. Whereas this episode, there was so much for Yaz to do. Like, she was like the Doctor. That whole what would the Doctor do that she had written on her hand the other week, it makes sense. It's good. It's coherent character work. It's really, really nice. And I loved the scene where she was looking at the hologram of Jodie, and Jodie's socially awkward Doctor was like, I probably do miss you now, and all this, and it was just really nice, and Mandip Gill's performance in that was brilliant. Added on to that was John Bishop coming in and sitting with her, and I mentioned this in my initial reaction video, but it didn't feel forced at all, which, like, when back in Series 12 in the Timeless Children episode, when Yaz and Graham had that little interaction on the cyber ship, it felt a little bit forced. It felt like, I don't buy it. I don't believe really that these characters have this great friendship and that Graham does really appreciate Yaz. Whereas this time, it did feel so believable and so real when Dan was trying to comfort Yaz. And brilliant scene. Once again, John Bishop, great comedic presence. It's a shame that Dan doesn't get loads to do. Like, this is his first series. Maybe if he'd had a series to establish him before this, it would make more sense. But even so, really welcome presence in the episode. Love John Bishop as Dan. Hope he does continue throughout the specials. I'm pretty sure he does, but just hoping. Eustachius Jericho, once again, didn't get loads to do this episode, but the stuff he did do, I liked, no complaints here. The performance was good. The character writing was good. Yeah, really solid script this episode. That is another main thing. Like, there was no dodgy lines, I don't think. Most of it was just sort of solid. Now, Belle and Vinda, they're our next two sort of main people in the cast. They were barely in it, but once again, they were just all right. This is a problem with Belle, though. The performance is perfect, like, no faults there, but she's not really got anything to do at all. Like, every episode she just crops up for a little bit and goes like, I'm Belle, and I'm here, and I love Vinda, and I'm now here, and I still love Vinda, and I'm now here. It's just like, come on, you could have done this in a montage in one episode. I mean, maybe it's to draw out our emotions and to get us more invested in the character, because I do think she's a good character from what we've seen. I just don't think we've seen enough of her. Like, there's almost... The only real problem, I'd say, with this series is that there's so many good ideas. All individually, they're brilliant ideas, like the infiltration of UNIT. Brilliant idea. But cramming it into a series this packed already... Is that Chibnall's best move? I don't know. Like, if he had 10 episodes to explore all of these ideas, that might have worked better. I don't know. And, like, yeah. Anyway, characters. Who else was there? We've talked through the main cast. We had the Grand Serpent. Now, the performance was fine, but he was just sort of like, oh, I'm an evil man, and I do evil things. Like, the performance was good. I just think the character wasn't really given much to do. Like, he was in quite a lot of the scenes, but all he did was produce a weird Demogorgon worm snake thing and kill people, which, like, he feels like... I think we will get more development of him in the finale, but at the moment I don't understand his motive. Like, what's he doing? Why is he doing this? He seems like a two-dimensional character. There's no deeper meaning to his journey. Like, I can't sit here and follow it like, oh yes, that's what he's doing, because it's just sort of like, oh no, the evil bloke killed someone again. But fair enough, maybe next week we'll get more development on his behalf. Kate Stewart, really nice to see her back. Like, Gemma Redgrave, really welcome presence whenever she's in it. I wish Osgood was in this episode. We got an Osgood reference, which was nice, and I think, in the next time trailer we do see Kate quite predominantly, so that's good. Hopefully we get lots more Kate content next week, and Osgood, bring back Osgood, even throw in Martha Jones, like, go for it, that'd be really nice. But yeah, Carvanista, he's the other character I can think of that was somewhat in this episode. I love Carvanista, performance is brilliant. Oh, and I loved, because you had two, like, Luparis communicating, they all have that same accent, which is just really funny. Yeah, Carvanista's a great concept, great idea, really like that. Joseph Williamson, it's such a hammy performance, but in the best way possible. It's like the Emperor in Star Wars. It's so, like, camp, over the top and ridiculous, but it suits the story, and it's just really fun and engaging. Like, whenever the character Joseph Williams is on screen, I am just drawn in, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And yeah, really, really nice there. Sontarans cropped up at the end. Yeah, pretty cool. I think that is basically every character of importance in this episode, so I am just going to jump more so into my actual critiques and the good things of this episode. First up, I'm going to say this episode was really, really, like, dialogue heavy, which not necessarily an issue, because nerds like myself love this sort of stuff. Like, I happily would sit here and listen to the characters just talk for a very, very long time. Like in the episode The Timeless Children, a common complaint of that was, oh, well, there was too much dialogue and it was just telling stories. I like that. Like, I really like the episode The Timeless Children, but I could see why other people might not. We did get a mini sort of fight scene on the boat with Yazdan and that evil guy, who I'm presuming is working for the Grand Serpent. I don't know, though. Yeah, see, that even now, I'd forgotten those plots were exist. Why are people going after Yazdan and Eustachius? Like, there's so many plot threads, you almost forget them. And, like, Diane and Vinda in Passenger, like, there's almost too much going on. It's all really good stuff, but there's so much going on, I can't keep up. And I don't know how a general member of the public who isn't an obsessive nerd is supposed to keep up when there's this much crammed in. And I don't know whether that's a result of COVID or if it is just like Chibnall throwing everything he's got into this final series, which is fair enough because, as I keep saying, it's all really solid stuff, but it's almost a little too cluttered. Like, each episode, the performances are fine, the acting's fine, the visuals are brilliant, the directing's fantastic, but I don't feel like I get enough time to connect with each character, which is why I think Flux works better, or will work better, as one whole thing, one whole form of like binge watchable material, rather than serialized installments weekly, because I am just left each week going, okay, but I want the next part, which I know that's the point, but at the same time, I don't feel satisfied. The only one I felt fully satisfied after watching was War of the Sontarans, because it did feel like, oh, those were the answers I'm looking for, that's good, that's fine, and we've got the mystery still to come. Whereas Halloween Apocalypse, it left, like, it was all set up. Then episode 3 was loads of bits of sort of setup. Episode 4, last week's, yeah, to be fair, that was more satisfactory because there was a sort of Weeping Angel story which I was able to connect with. But I don't know, overall, there's just so many things going on. I do feel like a lot of bits are going to be pushed under the rug, and I don't know what to focus on. Like, I'm glad that this Timeless Child stuff's being explored, but if you're exploring that, maybe don't explore loads of other smaller stories. I don't know though, because maybe next week it's all going to tie brilliantly together, and you're going to get some immense payoff that no one was expecting, which hopefully, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I loved the infiltration of UNIT in this episode though. Like, that could have been, and I'm pretty sure that probably was a script for a Chibnall episode that ended up being merged into this for COVID reasons. But yeah, also, I'm pretty sure we got a Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier cameo moment, because they were talking about the guy shouting in the unit offices upstairs, which was, yeah, that was really nice to see. And it wasn't over the top, because Moffat often does fan service a little bit too on the nose with the Brigadier. Like, here is a picture of the Brigadier in an aeroplane to remind you that he exists, and then like 300 million other pictures of him everywhere. But this mentioned him, gave him a little cameo. It was really nice. Kate, once again, brilliant. Can't wait to see more of her next week. Martha Jones, I feel like, just bring her back. Throw in Martha. She's part of UNIT, isn't she? Like, what's she up to nowadays? Don't bring Mickey back. Don't give Noel Clarke anything to do now, except rot in prison. no, but bring back Martha. Martha's cool. I like Martha. Maybe she got divorced and, I don't know, like married Osgood or something. I don't know where that sprung from. Maybe that happened. Speaking of, like, relationships, though, the Doctor and Yaz. Lots of people were theorising about Phasmin going into this series. I feel like there's hints there. Like, Yaz is so sad when the Doctor's not there, but then also we don't have time for it, because that would just be another story to throw in. Also, I don't know if the BBC would be brave and bold enough to actually put that in there, so Phasmin's probably not going to happen by the end of the 13th Doctor's tenure, which, I don't know, I think it might have been a good idea, because it would give both Yaz and the Doctor more development and more things to talk about and to do, which, like, yeah, you need to establish their dynamic. Overall, though, it's not needed in this series, because, as I say, it's packed. And I do like the direction it's going. I think it's really nice. Sometimes when Chibnall does, like, globe-hopping stories, it's a bit ridiculous. Like, why are they going to, I don't know, random place in Russia for some reason? Whereas this time it felt earned, it felt needed to, like, fully show the scale of it. Really liked that. Also, the return of the Fob Watch, the Chameleon arc, that was really cool. Like, we haven't seen that since, like, the Davies era, I don't think. We had a similar thing with the Lighthouse in Fugitive of the Tecteun, but the Doctor getting her memories back, that's such an interesting prospect. And I mean, in the trailer, we saw Azure or Swarm, actually open the watch and the energy start to fly out. So the Doctor's we're probably going to get proper answers next week, which is, yeah, really, really looking forward to that. I think that probably is everything for this review, because, as I say, I really, really enjoyed the episode, but I don't feel 100% satisfied because it's still brewing. Like, you couldn't watch this episode individually, and I feel like it needs to be binge watched to be fully appreciated, which isn't really a writing problem at all. It's just airing them week by week is annoying. But then again, that's kind of the point, because it draws you in. The BBC want that. It keeps the viewership high. So overall, really, really solid episode. Tomorrow I am going to be releasing theory videos and exclusive, well, not exclusive to me, exclusive to TV Zone images of the upcoming episode. So if you want to get a highlighted preview of next week's episode, subscribe to the channel. Also go and check out our Doctor Who fan film Echo's End. Hours of work were put into that. Tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments down below. Tell me your theories. Did you like seeing Tecteun, etc. back? I certainly did. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.